Why would you waste precious time in your life using ugly spreadsheets in your creative process? And anyone who tells you just use a Google spreadsheet for X, Y, or Z is unintentionally or sometimes intentionally making your life 50 times harder as a creator. The best creators don't use spreadsheets, they use creative tools, and Excel was never designed for creative planning. It was designed to systemize numbers, not ideation. So stop doing that and let me show you an alternative way to plan and make better videos. You can see here Brilliant Video Pro. So this is an exclusive behind the scenes look of what's coming out very soon. If you've been following my channel for a while, you see that I already have Brilliant Video on iPad, but Brilliant Video Pro is the next tier up. This is for macOS and this is for serious creators who just want to make better videos, systemize what it is that you're doing, and just have a better experience when it comes to your creative process. So I've heard many creators on YouTube say, "I'll just use a Google spreadsheet." And in my opinion, that's like the worst advice you can give, because all you're doing is creating a future problem for creators, right? So if you put everything onto Google spreadsheets, they're not the best medium to actually look at ideas. And I've found from developing my own software that when things are more visual, especially as a creator, you, one, use it more, two, you actually get more value out of it, and three, it just makes the whole process a lot better. So if you can see here, when we come onto Brilliant Video Pro, you start with the idea bank. So this is where you actually store your ideas, work on your ideas, whether it's scripts, anything related to creating videos, okay? You've got your Maslow hierarchy of needs, breakdown in terms of videos. So this is a really good tool because when you go through it, you can use the Maslow's hierarchy of needs framework, but apply it to videos. So then you can plan, okay, I want to do a belongingness and love needs type of video, or a physiological needs type video, or safety needs type video. And it gives you a few examples of those type of videos. So you can kind of get that into your brain and then make a video based on that particular theme. So that's a really good tool that you can reference all the time. Then you've got YouTube ideas. So this is where I literally save all of my ideas that I'm going to write scripts for in the future by simply just type in, hey, this is a new video, whatever, right? Save it, and then I'm good to go. And I can always go back to them and use them for the scripting tool, which I'll show you in a second. VTLS tips. So this is my framework that I created a couple years ago. And VTLS stands for Viewer Traffic Light System. So I use this framework, if you will, to create all my scripts. So that first 30 seconds, to hook people in, that's what the VTLS is, right? It's that Viewer Traffic Light System. So you got to set the hook, bit of backstory, and then you've got the progressive actionable step, which I call pass. Then you've got your Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 setup. So this is pretty much across the board in film and TV, more so in film. They really use this 3-act structure in everything that they do. It doesn't matter if it's a rom-com, a animation, a drama, sci-fi. It's a 3-act structure at all times. So first you've got the setup, then you've got confrontation, and then you've got the resolution. So you get access to this that, again, as a learning tool, you can reference it at any time, right? It even gives you an example script and breaks down the whole script in that format. Okay, so that's a really great tool. Then we've got scripting. So as I showed you before, this is where you can select all your ideas. And the beautiful thing about Brilliant Video Pro is because it's on Mac OS, right? It just looks a lot better than the iPad. Obviously, iPad looks great, but when you have larger screen real estate, and most creators are, I would say editing on a MacBook Pro or some MacBook Air, something like that, and you have everything on here. So having this software on your actual laptop makes life easy when you're pulling in thumbnails or information from email or whatever it may be. You're just generally doing most of your work on your Mac, which I work on my iMac and my MacBook Pro, right? So I use all my Apple devices pretty much intuitively, from the phone to the iPad, etc. They all get used, plus the screen. So at any given time in my studio office, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens, not including iPhones, right? So I've got my teleprompter, I've got my 2 monitors, iMac, MacBook Pro, and the iPad. And again, they all get used in some capacity depending on how or where I'm working. But here is where you actually go through and plan out and write your script. So this is my step-by-step process of how I actually plan every single video. I save the script. Then once it's saved, it goes into proofread here. So if I just do a quick idea, let's say YouTube test, I'm going to save that. And you'll see here it's in the ideas. And I go to scripting, I select it, YouTube test, hello, go back, hello again, go back, hello again, and VTLS, hello there, right? Go to save, and then we see it's saved, okay? So then we go to proofread and you see the script is here. So then it maps out and shows you visually each section that you worked on. Then you can either edit it, delete, email it to yourself to have another read through before you go to final. But if you are ready with it, press save to script gallery. And then we come back to Idea Bank, go to script gallery, and you'll see here our actual script. And here's just simply where you email it to yourself, right? And the reason why I email it to myself is in my process, I have my Elgato teleprompter. So once I've done my script, I'm happy with it, I email it, I put it into the Elgato teleprompter, and I'm good to go, ready to record. Simple, easy, fast, just how you need for any video creation. Then the other tool we've got here is projection. So currently I had 2 weeks of, I would say, hectic schedule, personal life, just family events, things like that, and work, business was just incredibly busy. So I've actually moved my projection date, not based on anything else other than the fact of how many uploads I'm doing a week, how many current videos I've got on my channel. So I probably would have hit 43 or 44 videos by now, but the past 2 weeks, as I've said, it's been totally hectic. But because I had systems in place, I just didn't have time to record, but I also had thumbnails, ideas ready to go. So this morning I just literally caught up on my scripts, banged out about 5 scripts. So now I'll probably produce 10 videos this coming week. I've shot 5 already. This is the 5th one of the session. And next week, or this week coming, I will have time to shoot more. So by shooting more, I'm probably going to catch back up to have my, I think it was 27th of September, where I should hit my 100 video, long form video on my channel. But projection tool is great for that because literally it can just show you where you're at and what you need to do in order to hit any deadlines you might have. Okay. Then moving on, we've got thumbnail design. Now I'm probably going to tweak this because on iPad, you actually have a vertical scroll, if I remember correctly, whereas currently I've got it on a horizontal. Personally, I think it's good to do vertical for thumbnails because you got 3 images on each one and it's a little bit small, a little bit too much space, but before the release that'll be changed. But as you can see here, just by clicking, I can go through the thumbnails that I've got already in the can, which this is funny because I'm now showing you the thumbnails that I've created for this specific video, which is interesting. But yeah, here's where I can actually preview them in the gallery and go through any previous videos that I've actually got thumbnails for. Okay. And you simply just type your title, select your image, upload. Nice, easy, done. Okay. Then we've got production. So this is for the, I would say, more advanced creators. If you're doing a video podcast, you've got other things going on, or you want to work on, topics for your podcast, you want to go through your camera shot list. This is literally manage guests, right? This is literally where you do all of your production tasks. So here you've got camera shot list. So as a video student, from a teenager, these are things that we actually covered whilst learning how to produce videos, edit videos, and do the whole shebang, from short films to music videos to documentaries, you name it. This is what we covered. And these are pretty much all the shots that get used in films, like all the time. Now, there might be, some unique angles, like certain directors like Quentin Tarantino. He, kind of comes up with his own shots sometimes. And there are a few other directors that do that as well. But in terms of, I guess, your standard shots that are used globally, this is what you get. So it just gives you an indication of what kind of shots you can use for your production, okay, which is pretty nice. Here you can add guests for your podcast, right? So you can get name, profession, etc. Pretty straightforward. You've also got a docket manager. So you can enter your docket title, what's going to be on your next episode, and you can start to save these, okay? Then you've got save docket. So if you actually, want to go back and reread or make changes or whatever it may be, you've got them all saved here. You've got your podcast guest list, right there. You've got your schedule of your guests right here. So again, just different views to showcase the data. And then you've got your podcast guest list, wish list, sorry. So people who you want to get on your show, you can just simply keep a log and, maybe even motivational for you, right? So that's what you would do in the production tab here. Now, creator study, this is, I would say, probably the most useful study tool I've used in a long time. And even previously when I was studying in gemology, right, or even in finance, for investment finance, I wish I had this tool then, because I think my note taking would be a lot more in depth, and it would be a great tool to actually go back over things very easy. So I built this on iPad first, of course, and then I built it out again on Mac OS. And in some of the other apps like Brilliant Christian, we have this, but it's a great tool just for logging your notes in a very strategic way. So once you click on the note, you've got the name of the creator. If you're studying through YouTube or whatever it may be, you can write the title of the notes, and then you can make your notes, date it, and you can always go back to it. Okay, right. And you've got all these different categories: marketing, advertisements, AI automation, tech, finance, faith, development. Okay. And you literally just have a place to store your study notes. So I find, again, if you put data or information like this into a spreadsheet or Notion, if it's not like the main go-to tool that you use on a daily basis, then these notes just kind of get buried and you never see them again. And I've seen it myself where, I like to research things. It started with bookmarks. I don't know if you got that same, issue where you just see something. I used to, I don't now, but I would bookmark so many things. But I just stopped going through bookmarks. And then I had so many that it got overwhelming, where I was like, this is ridiculous. Do I even need these bookmarks? No. And I just don't really use bookmarks anymore at all, which is kind of weird, but I just don't think we use the internet like that as much. Well, I don't anyway. But with Notes specifically, even when I use Notion, again, it wasn't the go-to tool I was using. I would just use it to store information. But when I'm using these kind of software applications, these are getting used on a daily basis. So if I'm in study mode, right, then I'm using Create Study. And on my iPad version, Brilliant Video, the prior model, I've got tons of notes across loads of stuff. The reason why there's not much here is because Brilliant Video Pro is new, okay? And I'm still fine-tuning the code before it's released to you guys. However, with this specific tool, it can just transform the way how you actually study and learn on YouTube and any other studying environments, to be honest, because you have a clean way to actually reference your notes. It's organized, it's visual, and it can be edited at any given time. All right. And that is pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. Brilliant Video Pro, that's a brilliant overview for you. Okay, very short and sweet. But here is, the meat and bones, the ideation, the idea bank. And if you've always got a bank of ideas, then you're never going to struggle when it comes to making videos on YouTube. And as I said, I've been using this system, Brilliant Video, for nearly 2 years now, or just coming up to 2 years. And it has just transformed the way that I make videos. And as a video student by trade, if I had tools like this when I was studying, then who knows where you could take things with what you're working on. And I mean, for anyone who's like starting out or just wants to take YouTube seriously, then that's why I've developed Brilliant Video Pro for macOS, because it is for those people who want a fully intuitive system that can manage all of their information for podcasts. It can manage all of your information you want to talk about on the podcast, give you ideas on shots for your podcast or for videos or anything that you're creating on YouTube. It's not really, specific to X type of niche. It's all video. So if you make video, this is a tool for you. If you are a student of the game and you learn on YouTube and YouTube University, this is where you would save all your notes. So you can always go back to them. Well, what was that thing that Hormozy said about marketing? Boom, it's in there. Or what was that thing Myron said about sales? Or what was that thing Gary Vee said about X, Y, and Z? You can always go back to it pretty easy. You got a space for thumbnail design, which is part of packaging, which is paramount today. And I've found, again, which when I switch this one to vertical and you see the thumbnails at a glance, but, in one go, this actually helps like choosing which thumbnails you're going to use for your videos. I mean, I don't know about you, but I use the YouTube testing feature where I can test 3 thumbnails. So by default, I make 3 thumbnails for every single video at the beginning. So before I even script, which I'm doing now, before I script, before I record, I make 3 thumbnails for the idea. That's how we start. And once we have that there, then I can see at a glance, okay, what does this thumbnail look like? And when it's small like this, it gives you a real-time indication of how it would look on YouTube. And that's why I'm going to make this particular view a vertical scroll rather than horizontal, because even at a glance, we'll see them similar size to how they are on the YouTube home feed. And again, this has been a transformational tool because my thumbnails have got better, right? My ideation process has got better because I'm always fine-tuning. And there's some ideas here which may not even get done right now, but then later I might have an idea of how to actually approach them. That's why they stay there, because they're getting worked through over time. New ideas, of course, come, but you've got your idea bank ready. So as a little sneak glimpse behind Brilliant Video Pro, and it's a way how you can stop actually using these dreadful, awful spreadsheets to store all your creative ideas. And like I said at the beginning of the video, those tools are designed for numbers and data. Okay, fair enough if you're analyzing things, but the creation process should be a visual, intuitive, and flexible system that brings the best out of your ideas. And that's what Brilliant Video Pro is designed for. And if you are an iPad user, you can get Brilliant Video now for iPad. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.